All right, everybody. Today is Monday, March 26th. Hard to believe the end of the month is here. And some of our experimentees are approaching their 90-day mark. We're super excited to be together with you. We are here for our Nutrition and Fitness 101 with Mama G and Samantha B. And we will go ahead and start now. Today, we're going to be talking about fitness and eating for the holidays. What does that look like for you? So bear with me as we learn how to maneuver through this program. All right, so Robert, I need your help here for a second. How do I go back to my camera?
Okay, just stop screen sharing.
All right, I see the red button. Like it's right in front of my nose. Okay, folks, here I am. All right, so a lot of you have discussed with me the fact that Easter is coming and you're not sure what that's going to look like. I would love some chats over in the corner, or you can go ahead and raise your hand if you have something you want to see, if perhaps you're driving, something like that. Easter holidays in general are always difficult for you experimentees because we're in an opportunity to learn something that we've not done before. Usually we treat those opportunities as a food fest, right? Hey, it's only Easter. It only happens once a year. We can have whatever we want to have at this point in time. So point being is, we are all trying to achieve a goal, and I don't care if you have a hefty goal, whether it's a big weight loss, whether it's an event that you're trying to participate in, whatever that looks like. We in the lifestyle group have a goal, and so the last thing we want to do is do something to sabotage that goal. So if you're hosting, things become a lot more clear for you, right? So Easter is at my house. I happen to have the luxury of saying to people, I want you to bring something, and if so, I have no issue with giving them an actual recipe, but I also have the opportunity to do everything myself and keep it all within my control. When you look at Easter foods, right, you're looking at a couple different things in terms of the protein option, right? We're looking at potentially a ham. We're looking at potentially a lamb, or we're looking at, I say turkey. Turkey is always a default at my house for the holidays because we all love turkey, and we always know it's a great lean protein option for us. The ham or the lamb is definitely something that many of you will be considering, but you know what this looks like now. Our plates, right, look like that plethora of vegetables, right, cooked in an appropriate manner. It also looks like that little bit of lean protein. And I know Lev and Miller there watching, and I know Lev used to think that we had to slab of lamb at Easter. But now we know in order to hit those macros and calories, we're looking at a small portion of it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be nutritious and delicious at the same time, right? So one of the things that I do is I look for recipes on my phone. So I'm going to screen share with you just to show you how this looks as well, because I think it's kind of awesome. And we'll see if I can actually do this with you. So I'm going to try to get on my phone. I'm going to share my phone here in a second. I think I have to do something in my settings. Yes, I do. I'm going to go to AirPlay, screen mirroring, and MacBook Pro. Oh, man, it's so awesome. Okay. So let me go into, and I find I like this better on like Google. So one of the things I did was look up traditional Easter meals just to kind of see what options were in there. But another thing that I thought about was, okay, along with these meats that we're talking about, we want to find a meat that's going to be delightful and delicious. So I will tell you that if you're not a lamb person, you should be a lamb person, because you can cook lamb with an amazing marinade on the outside with a lot of fresh herbs, and really only need a little bit of it to really give you that Easter kind of feel there. But then we look at all those side dishes that can be a disaster for us. So when we look at, for instance, healthy potatoes, so I'm going to just put in here, healthy mashed potatoes. And I'm going to show you what happens. And I like this best, as I said, on my phone. And I can go along here and I can see there's a healthy mashed potato, garlic mashed potato. It's got 5 stars and 13 likes on there. Oh, we've got one with 1 little like. We've got one with 3 little likes. So you can kind of look along here and see, you know, what has the best rating with the most likes. So we're going to go back to the healthy garlic mashed potatoes. All right. So we're just going to look at this for a second. Let's take a peruse together at what the ingredients are. So potatoes, we're safe there. Garlic. All right. And look at the amount of butter or oil for the 2 pounds of potatoes. It's only 1.5 teaspoons. That's virtually nothing. A big game changer in this recipe is the dried sage. Sage is really a very unique herb, and it's one that I absolutely adore, but I don't use it a lot. We've got salt and pepper, and then look at, we've got some sour cream or some 1% buttermilk. So we know automatically this is going to be potentially a great recipe if indeed it tastes good. So one of the other things that I will do is I will look it up by the reviews. So I'm going to touch on the reviews there, and then I'm going to just look down here, right? It says, what a lovely dish. You know, I like that it's low fat and easy to prepare. My DH, I don't know, DH wanted roast with mashed potatoes. This gal's on Weight Watch, you know, who's Weight Watching. So she talked about the fact that it was great and delicious and a pretty sturdy meal. So I just go through and peruse some of the ratings to see what people spoke about it. One of these people didn't like sage, so that's why they ended up giving it not such a good rating. But in general, the ratings were pretty good. So this would be something that I would definitely think about, and then I would also definitely consider putting this into my Fitness Pal and building a recipe, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. So I think that's useful to be able to look on your phone and look for healthy recipes. Even with something like if you're going out to a meal, I will often go into Yelp and put in healthy whatever, dinners or restaurants, and it'll give me a lot of options in my area, and I'm able to peruse the menus that way. So looking at your ham, looking at your lamb, looking at your turkey, cook it in whatever fashion you enjoy. If you need recipes, ask me. But don't deep fry that turkey, by the way. It's super dangerous. And lots of fires start that way. And by the way, it's probably not the best choice, right? A deep fried turkey. But really it comes down to those sides. So I kind of wrote down some sides that I know that we will have in the house. One of them is 100% some kind of mashed potatoes. Now, my nephew will bring his deadly mashed potatoes that have sour cream and butter and cheese and bacon and the like. And, you know, Samantha B.
They're called heart attack potatoes.
Heart attack potatoes, right? So Samantha B., Mary, several of us have no interest in those things. But on the other side, we can make a really delightful mashed potato should we choose to partake in it. Right, Sam? The other thing we will definitely have at the table is sweet potatoes. All right. Everybody loves sweet potatoes at my house. I make a mashed sweet potato that is delightful. It's got a little bit of the crunch on top with some whole wheat flour, and I use some pecans, and I use a little bit of butter because it's a treat. And honestly, the amount of sweet potatoes to topping you get is really small, but it's delightful. And again, it's Easter, so why not have some things that you would normally not have? Cooking Kate makes a great savory sweet potato that I enjoy as well. What I didn't like about her recipe is that she put in raw shallots. I would 100% saute the shallots and garlic together and then include that with the mashed potatoes, and you will find that delicious as well. You also have an opportunity for rolls. People like rolls. So now we have 3 starchy grainies, right? Potentially a mashed potato, a sweet potato, rolls. So this is where you got to pick your poison. My suggestion, pick one, all right? Think about that 150 to 200 calories that you would normally have in your meal with starchy to grainy carbs, and push it, you know, to that segment of your meal. You want a little of all of those things, no problem. But if you're at somebody's house, be really mindful that the way they cooked it likely is going to be really over the top in terms of fat content, all right? So it's really about being mindful. And if you're going somewhere, that might be the choice you might want to bring with you. And again, if you need recipes, just holler. I will be there for you. The other things that obviously come with an Easter meal are vegetables. This is your opportunity to do something really delicious, because most people don't know the beauty of a roasted vegetable. So it's a really great time to buy some of the little baby carrots that have the stems on them still, you know, that they normally tear off. All right, they're beautiful and they're little and they're sweet and they're delightful. And you just cut off the top, give them a good scrub, keep this peel on there, a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil, roasted in the oven, beautiful. At the end of it, you sprinkle a little bit of fresh herbs on there. It not only looks delightful, but it tastes delightful. And you're going to teach people to enjoy a vegetable in a different way than they're used to. The other thing that I encourage you to think about is asparagus. Roasting asparagus in the oven is wonderful as well. I just take about an inch or so off the bottom. When you break the end of the asparagus, you really can potentially lose about half of it, and it's not cheap. Costco is really the best place to buy your asparagus unless you see it on sale at your grocery store. Again, I just give it a nice little wash, dry it a little bit, a little olive oil, salt, pepper in the oven. And then when it comes out, I suggest that you do a couple of things. Herbs are great on there. The other great thing is to put a little bit of lemon zest on there. So remember when we talked about zesting a lemon, you only want the yellow part of the lemon, not the white, the pith, because that's a little bit bitter. But you zest a little bit of lemon on your roasted asparagus, and you could even sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese and throw it back under the broiler for a minute. Oh, really, it's a game changer, all right? So now we've talked about, you've got this lean protein that you have made a decision that you're going to have a portion of, right? You've kind of narrowed down that starchy grainy into something that's a more healthful choice, right? And then we can add in this plethora of vegetables. We now think about the appetizers, right? Which I should have started talking about first. I love to have a lot of different options. And again, this is where you can tell people to bring things. I'm not a huge fan of making appetizers myself. I will always defer to our big vegetable plate. And I've seen some great things done for Easter. I actually sent one of my guests last year a recipe that I asked her to make. And what they did was they took a really pretty basket, and in the basket, you kind of put bunches of the broccoli and the asparagus and the different kinds of vegetables. And a lot of those vegetables you can parboil just a few minutes in water, pull them out, throw them into ice water so that they're not so raw, right? Like a broccoli and a cauliflower, if they're parboiled a little bit, they're really delicious on the parboiled side over opposed to raw side. Carrots, I love raw. Red pepper, I'm going to eat raw. Cucumber, you're going to eat raw. But this big basket, and then you've got these bunches of vegetables kind of stuck in there. And then we had a hollowed out pepper, like a colored pepper, a red or a yellow or whatever. And inside she put a little ranch dip. And we talked about making that ranch dip, right? We just use Greek yogurt. You can use all kinds of fresh herbs. You do it in the food processor so that you really get them blended in there. It kind of turns a little bit of green. You can throw a little garlic in there, salt and pepper. And now you have this really awesome veggie basket that you could take somewhere, or it's kind of the centerpiece for your Easter, which is really nice as well. And mindlessly eat, all right? You guys are not going to be logging your Easter dinner, all right? So whatever that looks like, don't go in thinking, I'm not going to eat lunch because I'm going to double up my dinner, all right? Don't do it, because when you get into that situation, you're going to be starving and you will likely overeat. So I still say to you, in all circumstances, eat all of your meals. If you guys are having a brunch, which typically is a 10 or 11 o'clock thing, I would say to you, stay the course on your breakfast. Go to that brunch or that lunch and try to eat within your calories. You know what that plate needs to look like. Then you come back that evening and if you need that snack still, if you need that dinner still, you get it. Do not try to restrict your meals, all right? We really want to make sure we're getting calories throughout the day so that you're not going to feel overwhelmed at that particular meal, right? So mindless veggies, guarantee you want to take care of that business at your event or at somebody else's event. I always make a kind of a nut tray, like a nut cheese dried fruit tray. Number one, I'm not really a cheese person, which is great for me. I try to say to people, make things that you maybe aren't going to go for so that at least you've got some space there, or have somebody else bring the things that, you know, are more appealing to you, because maybe if they brought it, it won't be so appealing to you if you did it. Try to not have the bowl of, you know, candy there, you know, because Easter, because we already know those kids are getting more candy than they need, so we really don't need to add to it all. But a nice, good appetizer for your people that kind of fills up space, and again, you could choose to have a little bit from is some whole grain crackers. We've talked about Triscuits. We've talked about wheat thins, those kind of things. Trader Joe's makes them as well. You can put some dried fruit on there. You can do little bunches of nuts. You can do little cubes of cheese as well. Again, it's not something that I personally go for. I try to spend my time on those mindless veggies. The other thing that I recommend are stuffed artichokes. So we are in artichoke season. And one of the things I've done, and I don't know if I've posted this video of it yet, but take your artichoke, right? And Trader Joe's sells like a 3-pack of them, or 2-pack, and Costco sells a 3-pack of them, but nice big artichokes tightly together, all right? Once an artichoke sits around, it starts to spread. And realize this for all vegetables and fruits. The longer they sit around, the less nutrient content they have to them. So we really don't want our vegetables and fruits sitting around for a long period of time. So when you buy an artichoke, make sure it's tight. Cut off the bottom stem, don't throw it away, so that it sits flat, all right? So that when you take it out of your pan, you could actually put it on your platter, right? And then what you do is you take your scissors and you kind of cut a little bit, maybe a half inch of each one of your artichoke points, so that you're not getting poked, all right? And then you literally spread it out. Once you've done that, right, you spread the artichoke leaves out so that now you could put stuff in it. So this is what I have on hand. I will get my saute pan out. I'll put a little olive oil. I'll put some garlic in there, minced garlic, and then I will take some whole wheat breadcrumbs, all right? And I will get that going. I want to have it brown a little bit, put a little salt and pepper. Once I have the breadcrumbs browning a tiny bit, I'll shut it off, and I'll put a little bit of Parmesan cheese in there, not a lot, all right? So we're talking, at this point, you could literally say, I have 4 artichokes. I'm going to use 1 cup of whole wheat flour, or excuse me, whole wheat breadcrumbs, so that you know that each artichoke has a 1/4 cup, so that if you ate a half an artichoke, you knew that you had 1/8 of a cup of that whole wheat, right? So you're thinking about the things that involve calories, all right? And when I tell you that I saute stuff, honestly, I use literally about a teaspoon of oil, so I'm not too concerned with the oil by the time we spread it out into all these things. So now I've opened up the leaves on the artichoke, right? And I'll put it on a plate or a bowl so that anything I spill doesn't get all over the place. But I'll take whatever, a 1/4 of that mixture, and I will shove it into the crevices of the artichoke. And I do it for all 4 of them, or however many I'm doing. Now I'll take a nice deep pot, and I usually defer to something like my Dutch oven because it's got nice heavy sides, and I'll set them all inside of my pot, right? And I will put about 1 inch of water in there. The other thing I'll put is, remember those stems I told you to cut off, which are completely edible and delicious? Throw those in there as well. Guess what? That's going to be part of your mindless eating when you're preparing your meal for everybody. So cover on, bring it to a boil, simmer it for about 45 minutes to an hour. Really, the leaves should be able to pull off. They should be at, you know, kind of this, pale green at this point, and you are ready to go. You pull them out, you put them on a nice, beautiful white platter. You sprinkle some fresh herbs on there. You could even do a little drizzle of olive oil again, and again, a little bit of lemon zest, and it's a great appetizer. And you honestly could take half of that thing and have a nice, enjoyable little vegetable right there, all right? And again, that's really easiest for us to calculate if we wanted to, but we're not going to be calculating that Easter meal. We're just going to be mindful and calculated about what we're doing. What else did I want to talk about? So appetizer wise, let people help you out there so that's not in your house, so you're not tempted with leftovers. Yes, and Kathy did say those artichokes are amazing. They are. Good job. So let people bring the things that are most tempting to you, desserts and appetizers. They're not the most tempting for me, but they are the most annoying for me. And I prefer to have a little more control over my meal. Now, when we look to desserts, what's that going to look like? Well, I'm going to tell you what, I've got 1 million bananas in my freezer. So the majority of my people are huge Yonana lovers. I do think this weekend I am going to defer to a little banana cream pie. Stay tuned on a healthy version of that. So far, I saw it on the kitchen the other day, and I thought, oh, that looks so good. I'm not really a pie person, but I thought it kind of seems a little springtimey, right? It's white and yellow, and it's pretty, and I bet it's delicious. But I asked a couple people, and they all said to me, oh, really not fans of banana cream pie. And I was like, therefore, I'm going to be making banana cream pie and showing you how delightful and delicious and how nutritious it could be all at the same time. I made also, and Rebecca and I will post it up, I made a beautiful strawberry crisp last night. All it had, and again, I found this recipe, on my Facebook feed, and I thought, I'm going to make this for my son-in-law's birthday. All he wanted was ice cream, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm going to make this little strawberry crisp. It was strawberries that we added a tiny bit of honey to, and honestly, if the strawberries are sweet enough, we're not even going to need the honey. Then we took some cornstarch, a little orange juice, mixed it together, a little salt in there because salt just brings that sweet factor out. Mix that all together, put it in a baking pan. I use a really pretty red ceramic baking pan that was round, I think. And then on top is a bit of almonds, pecans, and what else? Walnuts, and a little bit of whole wheat flour. And I'll tell you what, and a little bit of honey in there. That on top of there, in the oven 45 minutes, it was delightful. Now, we had vanilla ice cream last night because that's what Kyle wanted. But I'll tell you what, you put that on a little Yonana, delightful. But again, it's Easter. It's a special occasion. Go ahead and portion out yourself a 1/4 cup or a 1/2 cup of vanilla ice cream. Have your fruit on top of it, right? We're getting a little bit of our dairy in there as well. And it was delicious and nutritious. So again, don't feel like you have to not have any opportunity to have some special treats, but I'll say this as well. Some of you that are brand new to the experiment, lucky thing is April 1st is not in March. So our new experimentees who are going for the 30 days of no alcohol and no sugar, it's April 1st. You have choices now. Those of you, though, who have goals that you really want to achieve, right? Don't blow it. Don't allow one day to blow it, because here's the deal. You guys know from your heart rate monitors now how many calories you burn in an exercise session, right? And you go, holy crud. You know what? You know what I'm saying, right, Mel? I can see your smile there. I'm just going to say, don't blow it because that exercise is too much hard work. And come on, let's face it. That's what's the beauty of this whole thing, is that when you take ownership of the whole picture, the fact that you are really mindful of your food, that you know how delicious and nutritious it is, and that you're putting in all this work at the gym or on the trail or whatever that looks like, you really don't want to sabotage yourself, especially when you see week to week the changes, not only in your body, but in your mindset. And I have to share the story. One of my clients was telling me this morning that, she had such a great week. She's been doing great. She joined us in January. She's been with us for almost 90 days now. She's lost weight, which is awesome. Her clothes are changing. She's had to get rid of, several bags of clothes in this small period of time. She changed her mindset on exercise. She goes to the gym 5 days a week and has no issues with it. She actually was having a coffee with her husband at a Starbucks maybe a couple miles from her house, and her husband was working on a computer, and she says, you know what? I'm going to start walking home. You could just pick me up on the way. And he was shocked by the time he actually got to where she was, which was almost home, that she had gone that far in that short of a period of time. And the other thing she mentioned to me that was, she noticed that she was going up this hill, and in the past, right, that hill used to be a doozy. And she was like, I was just walking up this hill like it was nothing. And then she also shared with me that she spent the entire day last week on Friday in her yard by herself, when she looked out there and thought, oh, got to do a little spring cleaning in the yard. She was out there for 8 hours. She said it was like I ran a Spartan race. She said, I used a wheelbarrow and I brought back several bags of gravel and dirt, and I was digging and lifting and moving, and she survived the day. And I said, could you have done that 3 months ago? And she said, absolutely not. So those are the things that you have to think about. Like for me, you can see it in my face, right? Like I am thrilled that people are seeing the differences they're seeing, and they're not deprived. It's interesting because some of you know, you guys should know, I went to Bunko last week, and this is a group of people who I've been with for 20, 25 years. And it was interesting. A couple of our experimentees are in our group of Bunko, and they weren't there. And so they were the talk of the town. Oh my gosh, I saw so-and-so and they look so good. And I can't believe it, and blah, blah, blah. And number one, what I noticed was this. The gal who hosted, very lovely gal, is trying to work out now. She had beautiful salmon, which was awesome. She had a beautiful salad. She shows me the bottle of salad dressing and says to me, it's light dressing. Is this okay with you? And I'm like, no problem. And then she's like, and then they had a big bowl of string beans with some almonds in it. And she says, and there's no fat in the string beans. And I'm like, perfect. I'm thinking, well, there is fat in the string beans because there's almonds, but that's okay. I'm all about the almonds. So, but where was my starchy, grainy carb? Oh, I had to go home and have a bowl of cereal because I didn't get my starchy, grainy carb in. But that's the mentality that people have. She was telling me about her workouts at the gym and different things she's been trying. I didn't ask, but I guarantee the fact that she didn't have that starchy, grainy at that meal is an indication of what their daily life looks like, because people are afraid of those carbohydrates, right? The other thing I noticed with these ladies was, and they're all older than I am, and it's more apparent to me today that the lack of their self-care, right? The lack of exercise, the lack of them considering what they're putting in their mouths, even the way they treat their body, right? In terms of skin protection and those kind of things, it really made me see that, in the long run, these things matter. So I tell you young gals that are in our group right now, Haley and Nicole and Sam and all of you, you're in this period of time where your body's kind of forgiving. But, once you hit the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, we start to see the repercussions of our behavior. So things like sunscreen matter, right? Things like getting regular exercise matter. All of these things, think about what you're putting in your mouth matter. And what was interesting is I never brought up food to anybody, all right? Never. They brought it up to me. And they would say things like, well, I don't really have time for exercise. And well, I don't want to change my eating. And two of them said out loud, it's okay if I live a shorter life. And that's when I had to stop and say, wait a minute. It may be okay to you, right, to live that shorter life. But I bet if I asked your kids and your grandkids that same question, the answer would be unacceptable statement. So I'm preaching to the choir. You guys already know it. We're doing it for ourselves, and we're doing it for the people that love us. And one of the gals, I have to tell you, of course, says to me, so what do you think about meat? Like, I like meat. She says, what do you think about beef? I said, well, I said, the World Health Organization considers beef, carcinogenic. She's like, I'm not talking about processed meat. I'm like, no, I said beef. I said, so, number one, I'm not a huge fan. Number two, it's a rare occasion for me. And it's not even a treat for me because I'm just not a beef eater. But, an occasional piece of nitrate-free bacon smells delightful. Might eat it, we have pork chops on occasion. That kind of falls into that category. But the point being, it's not something I'm going to have on the regular basis. And she says, well, did you read the book by this Dr. So-and-so? And first I stopped her and said, do you know there's tens of thousands of books I can read by so-and-so who thinks they're an expert on the field? So no, I didn't read that particular book. But what did he say? Well, he said that beef is better than chicken. And I said, interesting. And so she kept asking me questions, and I kept giving her intelligent, evidence-based replies. And she continued to say to me, I cut out all sugar. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she she had this need to tell me about her life, which is very interesting. And of course, I deferred to ask about her husband, who I know has had several stints, and that I know that there is a tremendous family history genetically in his family of heart disease, and that a lot of the men in the family have died early. And I said, so what's your husband doing about the food situation? And he says, oh, he doesn't care. He wants to do whatever he wants to do with his food. I don't know. See, this is where I get really frustrated. And I'm only going to take 5 more minutes here to talk about this, and then I'm going to let Sam move on to some interesting fitness tidbits. But I am in the midst of writing a paper, and I had to narrow down my topic to a subject that I can really cover in about 8 to 10 pages. And so what I decided to go into was looking at the fact that we have now an epidemic of childhood obesity, and that children born today are predicted to live shorter lifespans than their parents. We've not been in that situation ever. That's a big statement, and it's really, really concerning. And so what I am trying to think about doing is looking at parental modeling, right? Which I talk about, all of us modeling, right? Parental modeling. I don't care what the age of your child is, and how that affects childhood obesity. So that's what I've been spending my time on now. And it's really interesting kind of delving into the literature, having to look up studies and reviews and really delving in because it's scary. And I've been talking to people about it as well. And this is what I'm going to say to all of you, whether you're parents or not, the majority of us in the group are parents. And I hope that the rest of you will be parents in the future, is that there are 2 things we as parents, regardless of the ages of our children, want for them. One is their happiness, and the other them is their health. That's it. And guess what? If you were to ask your children who are old enough to understand what that means, they would reiterate the same thing about their parents. All they want for their parents is for them to be happy and healthy. So again, preaching to the choir, because you guys already know this, but this is when we have the ability to affect change in other people. All right? People are watching. I had a water polo mom come up to me yesterday, and she touches my arm and she says, I'm just not ready yet, but I watched your video, whichever video it was. Oh, I know what it was, talking about the experiment with Sam, and we had all the experimentees in the room with us, when I said 2 Mama G's no-nos, right? Mama G says no-no to non-nutritive sweeteners, ever, never, ever, ever. And the other no-no that Mama G says is no soda, sody pop, whatever you call it in your place in the country, right? And she said, I gave up soda 30 days ago after listening to you, and I'm not going back. That's how we model, right? You have a platform. You have people in your life, and people are watching you. Diana, people are watching you at the gym. When you go in there in the middle of the night for the rest of us, they're watching you get it. And you're motivating them to get out of bed. Those people who go to the gym at that time, who otherwise sometimes go, oh, I don't want to get in there. They're going to go, Diana does it. I'm going to get in there, right? Mel, when you're going to the gym 5 days a week, getting your 5 hours in, and your husband isn't, you're modeling for him. Lev. All right. I'm going to take everybody off mute for a minute, see if you have anything to say, and then Samantha can get prepared to do her thing. So, any questions from all of you out there?
Do you have any questions?
Cara, nice to see your face. With other videos I can see. I know that Haley's here. This is like a, what was the name? A romper room? I can see Haley and Kathy
People don't know
Yeah.
romper.
How about Hollywood Squares?
Exactly. Well, you're on the gallery view. You can hit speaker view and you'll only see me and a little bit of them. All right. So any questions about anything? Otherwise, and you can just speak up when you're ready. But remember, thinking about Easter, whether you're going or staying, I can help you with what that looks like. All right. We can plan what that looks like.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Samantha B, are you ready? I'm going to share your screen. Here we go.
I'm just going to put out a warning. And she just muted me again.
There you go.
I was just saying I have a warning that my daughter is interested in screaming at the top of her lungs for any extended amounts of time. So if I go on mute, that's to save yourselves. Just so you know, Mama G is a recipe queen. She always has like a recipe, blah, blah, blah. I literally just invented this within the last 15 seconds. Let's see. That is ground turkey, a cup of bulgur wheat. It has about a cup and a half of diced mushrooms and a can of diced tomatoes, and then the rest of the cherry tomatoes I had in my refrigerator. Then I'm going to put that over spinach. Is going to be boom. But I just invented it. Anyway. So a couple of things I want to address, a couple of questions. So first thing, what Gina has said, that sometimes people had asked her about going onto a treadmill or a elliptical or a something, and it says, it has like 10 different options of what you could do for an option, whether it's a fat burn or interval or a hike or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You guys can go like this. Yeah, okay. So she's like, well, people are asking me if they should do that. And I was like, well, it's fine. So right now, you're exercising the most important muscle in your body, which is your heart, when you're focusing on your cardiovascular exercise. So whatever brings you enjoyment, doing that, you should definitely do. So if that means trying to spice it up a little bit and going for like an interval, say you're going to walk for 5 minutes and then you're going to try to really bring your heart rate up for 1 minute, that's a great thing to do. If you would just rather enjoy challenging yourself on an uphill walk or a flat walk or on a recumbent bicycle, that's great too. If you're starting to get bored, I challenge you to try a scheme with minutes. So if you can go 2 minutes at one level, 1 minute on another level, then regress back down to 2 minutes on that other level, it will make the time go by so much faster. You would be really, because you'll be, instead of thinking about 30 minutes or 15 minutes or however long you're on that apparatus, you're only going to be thinking about that minute. So it kind of helps time go by a little bit more and helps you put a little bit more intensity into those certain minutes. So that's one thing. And if you have questions about that any further, then don't hesitate to ask. But that's a no-brainer. Actually, part of a new FIT acronym that they've added an E on the end of FITT, and E is enjoyment. So if you're not enjoying your exercise, you're probably less likely to continue doing it unless you have some other motivation that's keeping you really, really honest about it. Secondly, the ab machines. So we had some awesome photos from the gym, which was awesome. And I thought everything was great. I thought it was great that how many times you were doing it. I thought it was great what you were doing. Ab machines are really, really sketchy when it comes to growing your core. So remember that in the first, we're going to be going month to month. And right now the whole thing for core has been about stability. I very easily could have told you guys to do sit-ups. I could have said, all right, go ahead. You guys are going to do 3 sets of 10 sit-ups. You're going to get super strong. But I do not believe in that, and I never will. Do I believe that there's an appropriate time to be doing sit-ups? 150%. Do I think there's an appropriate time to be doing leg lifts? 150%, but not if you don't have mobility in your spine and control in your transverse abdominis, which is where you can't see and where you will be challenged to even feel. So by doing the movements, the pelvic peel, the bird dog, if you aren't feeling your core being active, you should be asking questions, because there is no way at the end of doing 3 rounds of those exercises that your core shouldn't feel very fatigued and challenged. I actually took a video of myself doing the entire sequence, and I put a video, an audio of the B-52s on it, and the B-52s sued a bunch of people, so you can't use their music, so they took it down. So I'll repost it, but in there, I wrote something that said, it's hard to post pictures of yourself struggling, especially in something like that. For me, I could send you guys a picture of me deadlifting or squatting or doing something that I am not as challenged in. But then when I do planks and bird dogs and I'm really, really challenged, for me, that's, pretty personal, I guess. And don't feel like you're alone in that. That's what it's, the whole point of posting is to, open up and show a little bit of your journey. So don't think of it as showing weakness. Don't think of it as showing vulnerability. Think of it as your strength, as you're changing, as you are actually making some differences in your body. Okay, then moving forward from that, let's talk a little bit about the strength training aspect. So you guys are coming into week, since really I've been seeing more and more stuff, it's been about 30 days. So I'm considering everybody on the 30-day mark. So coming into this next month, we're really going to be forcing you to challenge your upper body before your lower body, because I still want you to be challenging your lower body from your cardio. So if your legs are feeling fatigued, that's good. You should be challenging them from whatever exercise it is that you're doing. If you're not feeling that way at the end of your exercise, then you probably need to start thinking about adding intensity. These type of questions I would love to hear. So when it comes to building the upper body, we're going to be doing stuff with a cable or a machine. And then we're going to be obviously using our own body weight, because it's a really easy thing to do. The most important exercise to build an upper body is a push-up, but not a bad push-up. So you're going to see me do a few different options when it comes to this, but I'm just going to go through this really quick because you guys are going to get this before the end of the week. So at the very, very least, when you are doing, hold on, I got to go grab Logan. She's on the thing. So at the very, very least, you guys want to make sure that when you're doing push-ups, you're not loading your shoulders and you're loading your chest. So I'm going to show you 2 variations that I see constantly. People that do push-ups every day still do this, and it drives me nuts because they're not using their pecs, which are huge muscles across their chest, which would 100% give them a leaner physique if they actually activated. And 2, they get all kinds of chronic neck issues, tightness in the shoulders because they're constantly loading their shoulders. You're always going to load your shoulder when you're loading your pec, but you're not always going to load your pec when you're loading your shoulder. A little nook of knowledge. So if you ever see people doing push-ups or if you ever see yourself doing push-ups and your shoulders are way up here in line, your elbows are way up here in line with your shoulders like this. This is a horrible push-up. You are loading your shoulders. You're not using your chest. So a good way to figure out where your shoulders need to be or where your palms need to be is behind. So if you lay down, if you've ever taken a yoga class or seen a yoga movie or whatever, they're going to talk about doing something called a cobra. So a cobra is palms next to your armpits, and you're going to pull back. Hence why we started with doing those Superman, so you can start building and activating that posterior stabilizers, which are right between the shoulder blades. So you guys are going to be here, and from there, whether you're on your toes or whether you're on your knees, you're going to push up from there. So your elbows actually come behind. I wish I could get a better angle. Your elbows are going to be behind your body, okay? They're not going to be in line like this. This is a no-no. This is a yes. Elbows go behind the body, okay? Another thing that people don't always do when they line themselves up is if they bring their arms way in front of their body, and that's a real easy one. So whenever you're starting your position out, whether it's here, you're always going to be getting those elbows and shoulders on top of your palms. Now, to regress push-ups, and this is something that people struggle with all the time, and I get why, because I feel the same way. But the eccentric load, you don't need to go and look up a definition of this or anything. I'm going to tell you what it is. An eccentric load is how you build strength. It's actually what tears the fibers, which allows it to grow, okay? Is on the way down. So if you cannot push up, it's no big deal. And I would so much rather see you lower yourself down under control like that than to come down and try to think that that's a push-up, okay? So when you modify this position, you're gonna grow so much faster and be able to do so many more, advanced positions. If you work that eccentric load down, and then from there, just push up, however you can get up. I watched a 600-pound life the other day. Does anybody watch this? Well, Gina does. She's into it. This guy was 637 pounds, and he was ready. Like, he was so motivated. He was doing push-ups, laying on his stomach, like this, like not getting up off the ground at all. It was the most motivating thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was so pumped. I had told so many people about this one guy because I had never seen anything like it. And so many people, I think, would have saw that and been like, oh, that guy, blah, blah, blah. That guy was loading his chest so well, and he's probably hadn't done a push-up in, a long time. And every single day, he's like, I just got to get my upper body strong enough for whatever he wanted to do. I think he was talking about having a better chest or whatever, but whether it was for aesthetics or what, I don't care. It was so cool. So that's my one big thing. If you are a yogi and you're doing the vinyasa push-up where your elbows are touching your body, that's extra credit. Okay, so I don't want you to get, like, the closer it is, it does get a little bit harder just because it's influencing the triceps a little bit more. But if your triceps are engaged, more than likely your chest is being loaded as well. They kind of go hand in hand together. If you ever do a push-pull workout, that's basically what people do with the upper body. That's what I want to say. Ab machine. Oh no, I want to talk about the cardio parameters. I wanted to talk about the ab machines. And then I wanted to talk about push-up positions. That's it. Do you guys have any questions?
Okay, I have a question. This is Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
If I'm on a time constraint and I know Gina wants me to do an hour of cardio and I can't do an hour of cardio, but I want to do some strength, what's best? Like, and when I do my cardio, I'm trying to get my heart rate up like 90th percentile. Well, that's just normal, I guess, for me. But I want to do some strength. I want to incorporate some strength stuff. So if I'm on a time constraint, is that okay? Or should I just do my hour cardio and then go home?
have you fulfilled the cardio
Maybe
equipment for the
turn it
week?
in 14 days.
No, I don't ever.
I would say that right now, it's
14 days.
probably in your best interest to fulfill that first, and then if you did have extra time then to go. Are you if you're working at that high of intensity, you probably have a great opportunity to take, if it's not the hour, to take 10 minutes at the end. And if you wanted to go through the upper body circuit that I'm going to send you, it's a horizontal loading. So you'll hit a muscle group, hit a muscle group, hit a muscle group. You would probably do that if you, but we can talk about this on me and you if you'd like a little bit more in depth.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, if you're making noise in your background and you don't have anything to say, will you please mute yourself?
You can get it.
I got rid of my sister and her barking dog. All right.
Hey Sam, I'm trying to graduate from a knee push-up to a real push-up, and
Awesome.
I can get down, but I can't get back up. Like, what would you do?
It'll happen. Go slower. Add more time under tension on the muscle group. So if you're going into your knee push-up and you're going down and then having a hard time coming back up like this, or you can come up like this, then I'd still say load, 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 load. If you have a friend, a child, that you can put on your back and do that, that will also help the progressive overload. You can put a weight, or you can put a backpack. That weighted eccentric will help you build. The other thing is consistency. You need to be doing it 3 times a week, not back-to-back days. That's going to make a big difference. And then maybe you'll get another variation or idea to add to supplement it that might help you grow a little bit faster. But awesome that you're already starting to do that. It's great. Ding, ding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I kind of shook my head yes and kind of bit my lip.
All right. I don't know who's chatting, but we can hear you chatting. Anybody have questions? We just have a few minutes left.
Oh, now that you might lean the other way, I better go.
I have a question. So when I do pretty much any of the exercises on the bed, you know, trying to do the plank and all that, and I really, I just really can't kind of even get up. So just push as much as I can, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's right now, that's the best option, I think. And don't be too hard on yourself, because I saw some pictures with you up pretty far, actually. You got to remember that the bed is an unstable surface.
Yeah,
like
was
right
really
now,
hard.
I'm on a stable surface. Yeah, and so it makes it a lot harder than you'd think. So when you do get onto a stronger, more stable surface, you're going to be blown away with how much easier it is. 1, 2, you'll get there sooner because you're already adding another component to the plank that's making it a little bit more challenging.
Okay,
I'm glad you brought that up though. Somebody wrote, oh, I'm going to do 30 seconds this week. I'm going to do 45 seconds next week, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to feel that you should jump in a week. I've been doing a core rehab with plank progression that I started on my knees. I'm on my toes now for 30s. And I just want to make this one point, and I hope you don't think that I'm trying to toot my horn. I want you to realize what the difference is between strength and like core strength. I can lift a lot of weight. I can push my body weight in a bench press. I can squat my body weight times more, and I can pull a lot. I literally just benched 160 pounds for a single this weekend. I weigh 144. That's a big bench for a woman, okay? I can't do a plank for a minute. So I want you guys to make sure that when you're doing your plank, you're being really, really, what's the word? You're trying to be a perfectionist. Because if you start getting lazy in this posture, and the other thing is I can't find my plank, unless I actually go up from my neutral here and then come up, you'll start seeing all kinds of weird things, especially, Rory, especially with the back coming up like this. This I see a ton. So that right there is a really non-neutral position. If you ever do a spin class and you hunch over your bike like that, it's the same type of back. So that is great for aerodynamics and blah, blah, blah. It's not good to strengthen your transverse abdominis, I'll tell you that. What it's doing is it's going right into your hip flexors. And that's a lot of time what people are doing in their plank. They're stabilizers, instead of it being deep in here or down here, because these are a lot stronger than your transverse abdominis, which takes you a lot of time to actually grow. So just because I could probably fight and I could probably hold a 1 minute plank like this, but I'm not going to grow from it because I'm going to start using things to actually make me do it besides my core. Now, you'll know when you can hold it. When the other thing is, if you're not breathing and you're not challenging your diaphragmatic breath, it won't be as effective as if you do. So if you notice, I am gonna post this video because I just went through that whole thing, and I'm in my plank position like this, and you can see that I'm using my breath to try to challenge my core in that 30 seconds. I'm actually only did a 15-second one for that one because, you know, try to video, keep it short. But I want you guys to challenge those type of things before you're like, oh, I'm going to a minute. 3x1 it's a long time, and it's a really challenging thing. And I hope that you're doing them in a sequence, or you're horizontally loading them or whatever. But I will post that as soon as we're done this, once I pull that audio off. Look at my dog. He's so cute. But that's all I got, Coos.
I've got a question, Sam.
Yeah,
I got a fast question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so how are we supposed to be doing these every single day? The four things that you, or are we supposed to be
can do them every
alternating?
single day, but those are things you can do every single day, but don't feel like you have to do them every single day.
All those four
I
things.
would rather do the rolling out, the pelvic peel, the bird dogs, and the isometrics, the Superman and the core and the plank position. These are all mobility and stabilizing movements, or not strength movements, although you can consider the isometric 2 at the end strength as well. But I don't want you to do them and hate it. So if you want to spread it out every other day, that's fine.
Okay.
Remember, you have to have that enjoyment piece. But the benefit from doing them more regularly is really, really high. I do core rehab every day. And I noticed a huge difference. I had a hernia a month ago, and I don't have one anymore.
Wow. Okay.
And I haven't done a sit-up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Okay, folks, we are just past our hour. Thank you all for your attention. It's been great. I've got everybody written down here as they're on here, but somebody is on and I don't know who you are. So I'm just going to mention it's Gina and Sam, Kathy Stallenwork, my sister Chris, Diana, Haley, Cara's on, Elisa is on, and I think it's Lisa M, but it might be Lisa F. So let me know. Nicole J is on. 11 Mel is on, and there's somebody else on, and I don't know who you are. So you could say it now or not. The other thing I want to say is let me help you. Those of you who are still part of the experiment, all right, paying that extra money every month. I am there to hold your hand. Sam is there to help you as well. Take advantage of us. Those of you who are sitting in the lifestyle plan, take advantage of the page. Ask questions. We are there for you there as well. If at any point in time you need more hand holding, once you've moved into lifestyle, you have us. You can come back in as an experimentee. It's not a problem. We are definitely bringing in somewhere between 4 to 6 new people for April. we need you. We need you to keep posting. We need you to share your things. We need you to share your struggles. I'm going to ask all of you within the next week to please, please, please share your story. Some of you are a month in. Some of you are 3 months in. Some of you are 7 months in. I love a video. I don't mind pictures and a little written thing. I think video is just so much easier, but please share your motivation with the group. All right. Talk about your struggles. Talk about your successes, because the successes are going to be greater the longer in, the more successes will be there for you, and support these new people. A lot of these people are afraid, all right? They are concerned about the change. They think they're going to be deprived. I don't know what they think, but they are 100% afraid of being uncomfortable in whatever capacity that looks like. So together, right? We do this. And by the way, Friday, our new website will be launched. We're super excited, so stay tuned for that, and enjoy your Easter. And remember, it's not about what you lose. It is all about what you gain, folks. Take care. Enjoy your night.